Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my newest video about the controversial stars from Stockton, Nate and Nick Diaz. And basically, I want to do this video. It's going to be a two-part video. Basically, the first part, we're going to get into the latest controversy surrounding Nate Diaz. And the second part, we're going to go more into Nick Diaz. So let me first start off by talking about Nate Diaz. And basically, the latest thing surrounding Nate Diaz is Dana White came out and said that he had refused the fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov, the tough Russian fighter. Um, and basically, Nate's response to Dana White was "F you, pay me." Um, and basically, I agree with Nate Diaz on this decision because I personally would like to see him wait and get a different opponent. And my reasoning behind that is it's very similar to when he fought Rory McDonald. Only the hardcore MMA fans know Khabib, and I feel that for Nate to take that fight, it's not really doing him any favors in the future if he loses that fight. Not to take anything away from Khabib, he's a tough fighter and everything, but I like to personally see Nate fight TJ Grant if I had a decision in it. I think that'd be a great fight and the fight of the year. Of course, that'd have to happen when TJ Grant came back from his concussion. And in no way am I implying that Nate Diaz is afraid of Khabib Nurmagomedov, because the Diaz brothers don't back down from any fights, in my opinion, anyways. And if you watch their fights, you would probably agree with me on that. So, basically, another thing I just wanted to tell a little story about Nate Diaz. You see, the Diaz brothers get a bad rap from a lot of the media because they're very unique personalities in MMA. And I actually saw a story on the internet about how when Cody McKenzie, a UFC fighter, went out and trained with them in Stockton, how a car had broken down on the side of the road, and basically Nate actually stopped, and there was a woman, a man, and their child, and basically Nate had stopped and helped them out of the car and kind of directed traffic, and ended up pushing the car out of the way. And I thought that was a pretty good thing he did because a lot of people make them out like they're thugs and they're this and that, the Diaz brothers. And it goes to show you, I mean, he's kind of misunderstood by the fans and media, in my opinion. And yeah, I thought I would share that because you don't hear that much. Good things about the Diaz brothers at times. And basically, my next part of the video is going to be talking now about Nick Diaz. And basically, there's been a bit of a debate. I saw on my Facebook account and on the internet in different places. People are saying that Nick Diaz isn't really a draw, and in my opinion, he's a huge draw. I mean, you look at UFC 158, for example. It ended up selling over 900,000, and yes, he had George with him, and George is a huge star here in Canada. But I remember before that fight was hyped up everywhere on sports channels, news channels, you name it. It was the most hyped fight I've ever seen here, and myself. And that all started, of course, in the press conferences leading up to the fight, and you had the infamous conference call with Nick and George, and Nick talking about wolf tickets, and George making fun of George's dark place. It was really classic stuff leading up to a fight, and I loved it myself. And basically, another thing about Nick is a lot of his pay-per-view buys. If you go back and look at it, UFC 143 versus Condit, there was 400,000 buys. Earlier, he fought BJ Penn at UFC 137, I believe. It was around 250,000 buys. And that's right there, that's Anderson Silva range number for pay-per-view buys. And he's a household name, Anderson Silva, as we all know. Another great point to point out about Nick Diaz is you hear Dana White always asking, like Nick Diaz's name always comes up in the media scrums. All the reporters are asking about his latest status, what's going on with him. And I definitely think they need him, or they just lost George. He retired. And Anderson's hurt, but Anderson sounds like he's coming back, which is great. But you always hear them, Dana White offering Nick Diaz fights. You hear him offering him fights against Lyoto Machida, Carlos Condit, and Michael Bisping, just to name a few. And that goes to show you how much Dana White thinks he means to their company when he's retired, and he's basically asking him for all these fights. And Myself personally, I couldn't wait. I can't wait till when he comes back if he does. I think it'd be great, and I'd love to see him have many fights. A rematch with Robbie Lawler would be great. Nick won the first fight by knockout. And another great fight I'd like to see him in is a Condit rematch because I thought he won that fight myself. Also, I'd love to see him against Johnny Hendricks. Yeah, those are the best three I can think of off the top of my head. Ellenberger would be good as well. I'd love to see that fight. And basically, what's your guys' opinion on the Diaz brothers? Do you guys like them, dislike them? Give some reasons why. Maybe you don't like the middle fingers and some of the antics or whatnot. But these guys really, they think about it like it's warfare when they get in that cage. And another thing is too, if you're not familiar with the Diaz brothers, I know some fans they're familiar with them just for the George fight, but some classic Nick Diaz fights are against Teknahara Gomi and Paul Daly. Those are great fights. And for Nate Diaz, I definitely check out Marcus Davis versus him, and also his last fight against Gray Maynard, another great fight, and also his fight against Donald Cerrone. These guys have some outstanding skills. I love their trash talk in the cage. There's actually a great feature on that Joe Rogan did on one of his podcasts. It's about Nick Diaz. I definitely check that out. You can listen to what he heard at Cage Side when he fought Robbie Lawler. Very cool stuff. And yeah, I hope to see more of the Diaz brothers in 2014. I'm hoping Nick comes back. I think it'd be great. I think they're great fighters. I think they're great for the sport. They speak out about stuff. They're real people. They're kind of like Richard Sherman in MMA, basically. I mean, you either like them or you don't like them. And I personally like them a lot. And let me know what you guys think. Thank you for checking it out.